It's great to see everyone and so thankful that everyone had a great weekend. So I am now calling the meeting to order. As we all know, this is the work session. No action is taken. It is in preparation for the meeting on tomorrow. So with that said, if you all can all join me as I do the invocation, that we can all bow, please. Dear Heavenly Gracious, loving Father, just once again, we are truly thankful for your grace and your mercy, because Lord, without that, none of us would be able to be where we are right now, which was ordained by you before the foundation of this world. And we truly, truly thank you. And Lord, we are so thankful that you've put in place where we can be reminded, as we were on yesterday, about the resurrection. And we are just so thankful that you sent your son to give it all for us, but more importantly, to be the model that we all need to follow. And that is to be servant leaders, to have a servant heart, to be sacrificial leaders, to think of others more than we do ourselves, because Lord, at the end of the day, that's what we're going to be judged on. These things that you position us to do is only because of your grace and mercy, but truly because you want us to follow that example of your son, Jesus Christ, who gave it all. And Lord, I pray that you continue to bless this city, bless this municipality, its workers, bless this council, Lord, bless the city manager and all its employees. And Lord, we ask that you continue to bless this council, that we always be mindful and grateful for the position that you put us in, for the sole purpose of lifting others up. In your son's name we pray, Jesus Christ our Savior. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Next is Mrs. Barefoot out there. Melanie, request to address council. Melanie, is she out there?
She's out there. I think Mike needs to promote her up.
Yes, ma'am. She should be on there now.
Okay.
Mrs. Barefoot? Hello, Mrs. Barefoot?
Yeah. Yes, I'm new at this. We're trying to figure this out.
Listen, we've been doing it for a while. I've been doing it for a while and I still mess up. So don't feel bad, but.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, Mr. Mayor and councilmen and women, I'm asking to address the council today because I own a house on 16th Court in Phenix City, 4904 16th Court in Phenix City. And it seems like all of these houses on that street are in the city and they receive trash pickup. The trash trucks go right by this house and they do not pick up the trash. And they tell me it's because it is not in the city. So I'm addressing council to see what I have to do to get my house annexed into the city for the sole purpose of having the trash pickup.
Okay, let me say this, Mrs. Barefoot. I did see the map just not long ago that the city manager showed me. As you have stated, you're correct. You and other people are not annexed in the city limits. My question to him was, how did this happen? But it has happened. It is what it is. But I will tell you this. This is something that he and his leadership team is continuing to look at, because there are certain things that from day one, he has stated that we need to look at boxing in certain areas to help prevent this problem. Now, part of that has to come from the state legislatures. But, you know, sometime by the end of the year, you know, I can't say that we will have an answer, but I will tell you that the city manager has already stated that that's something that we are looking at to be able to suffice this, but we're not there yet. And again, it's going to be sometime the end of the year, even before I think that starts taking place. But that is an act that also has to go up to state legislature, because there are a lot of places that when you think about it, it doesn't make sense from when you see it, but it is what it is. So there's some work that we have to do in the beginning of that work is to be able to look at boxing it in where we can help rectify this problem.
Yeah, well, when we lived in the house, we had trash pickup. And then we moved, and then all of a sudden the trash wasn't being picked up anymore. And then we found out that the houses had been annexed into the city, and I don't know where we was when this happened, but we missed the boat and we didn't get our house annexed in. So that's what we're trying to do, you know, is to be where our renters that rent this house can have trash pickup, because it's a problem for her. She don't have a pickup truck to put her trash in to haul it off. And so she's having to dispose of it in other ways, and probably not safe, but that's our problem.
Okay.
Yes.
In the past, Childs, could you all get her information in the past and get her in touch with our provider to see if they can work something out with her?
Yes, sir, we can. Yes.
Okay. That's an alternative for right now.
For right now.
Until we can take a look at what we're going to do farther down the road, you know, because a lot of people don't understand that a lot of that is still part of Lee County in that portion of the city. So until we have a lot of places that's in and out, we have a lot of people that chose to annex in back years ago. And a lot of people didn't choose it. And this is why we have this as a result today. And a lot of places were being picked up that wasn't supposed to be picked up years ago. So now that was rectified when we went to the service automation system dealing with water and everything else. It pointed a lot of things out that shouldn't have been going on, but they may be able to get you in touch with the provider, with our trans provider, and you all will be able to work something out in the meantime. But if we get this to a point where we can draw the lines and get this to the legislature in the future in different areas in the city, because we got to go throughout the city to try to take care of, rectify a lot of these things. And it'll give you a choice, Ms. Barefoot, at that particular time, if we can, when we get to that point. So don't miss the boat the next time now.
Will y'all contact me or what?
All homeowners from our engineering department, they do a great job of making sure they count the homes in the different areas, and they'll take a look at that. And they usually get you'll get something in the mail, and we would have all kind of notifications going out. But we got to get to that point, and it's going to take a major deal, because this moratorium has been on for a while, and it was a good thing at the time, because we have some other properties that we may even have to look at de-annexing, but that's not inclusive of where you are located at that particular point, because sometimes you're doing things and you're not able to provide when you get this type of annexations that we had before. So you will be notified once, and that's down the line somewhat, but hopefully we can take care, or our provider can take care of your situation.
Yes, well, I have the address on there of the address of the house, but you
Yes.
need to notify me, and you
Yes.
need my mailing address. Do you have that?
They need to talk to you, yes. So they, Ms. Melanie, do you have her number where Childs Woody could get that, so they could talk to her from our
Yeah,
youth
it's on there.
department, manage and runs our trash service. So that's who Mr. Woody and his staff will be the ones that will be talking to you if they can get that other information from our city clerk.
That's right.
Yes, sir. What I can do is I can just forward the request to address council form that Ms. Barefoot filled out to Mr. Woody, and that'll have her, I think she has a Lee Road address out in Salem, that I have that, and then her contact information, her phone number.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Lee.
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Barefoot, is all mind
Yes.
clear? I do want to reiterate what the city manager said. Now, this is a work in progress. Now, we
Yes.
don't know the time frame of all of that, as he stated so very well, but it is something, as I stated earlier, that is being looked at, because part of it has to basically the legislatures, but
Yeah.
work in progress is there. So you just need to bear with us, and let's see what happens, because again, it is kind of confusing on other properties throughout the city.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Well,
And
my
as stated,
tenant was thinking it was something that she had done because they wasn't picking up her trash. And so I I didn't tell her, but I knew that it was because the engineering department had told me before that it wasn't annexed into the city, but I don't know when it was done, so I missed the boat on it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Mr. Hunter has given you all the great information, so just be on the lookout, okay?
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. We appreciate you. Have a
Okay.
great day, rest of the
All
day.
right. All right,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Next, council under the planning commission, Angel.
Yes, sir.
March 23rd, 2021 planning commission meeting, Angel.
Yes, sir. We had several items on this agenda. We had a public hearing and approval of a rezone of 0.48 plus or minus acres located at 814 16th Avenue from an R3 zone, high density residential district to a C4 highway commercial district. Marcus Mitchell is the owner. We didn't have anyone approach negatively about the public hearing. We had one lady that had adjacent property owner that wanted her property rezoned at the same time, but we told her that she would have to go through the entire process, just like Mr. Mitchell did. And we didn't have any other issues with that one. And Planning Commission did recommend approval for the rezone. And I believe it's on the agenda for y'all.
It is.
Yes,
It
sir.
is. It is.
And number 7 and 8 on the agenda are tied together. So number 7 was a waiver request of 3.01 plus or minus acres located at 3501 Somerville Road. Norman Davis was the owner. And in the subdivision regulations, it states that you can't divide property unless that each lot that you divide abuts to a dedicated right of way. And they were trying to get that. The waiver is to allow them to split the property where lot 2 would not have dedicated right of way until they could get it rezoned, and then the adjoining property owner was going to purchase that lot. So our concern is what happens if that adjoining property owner decides not to purchase the lot? Then we've allowed a lot out there that doesn't have access to any type of right of way or dedicated right of way, so they don't have access to the property. It will be landlocked. So Planning Commission went through, along with Mr. Graham, who was there, and it was determined that they did not, or that they granted the waiver, but they were not going to approve the administrative replat until they actually saw a sales contract from that. And we're working with the owners now to try to get that. So they approved that waiver, but then by them approving that waiver based on that sales contract, they tabled the approval of the administrative replat. So that was not approved because they were waiting on the sales contract. So it will be on the next agenda if the sales contract does come through and city attorney reviews that, and if Planning Commission sees fit that that's enough information for them to approve the administrative replat. So I know that was a lot, but it was a long talked out topic at Planning Commission.
And basically, Angel, is it really strictly for ingress and egress, correct?
Yes, sir. And what it is the lot off of Somerville Road there. It's the empty piece of property there next to the Sonic on Somerville Road. They're looking at putting a Dollar General in right there, but they don't want to purchase the entire lot. They only wanted to purchase the amount of acres that they needed. So that's why there was going to be some remnant land. But Mr. Davis had talked to the adjoining property owner, and that was going to be able to increase their lot if they could purchase the property.
Yeah.
Angel,
Yes, sir.
I was out of the office part of the day, Thursday and Friday, and I did get an email of a contract on that piece of property. I just hadn't had a chance to get it to you yet.
Okay. All right. So,
Okay.
and like I say, we'll review it and make sure Mr. Graham has reviewed it, and then he can report to the Planning Commission at the next meeting his opinion of it, and then they'll decide at that point in time if they're going to approve the administrative replat or not.
Okay. Thank you, Angel. Any question, council? Comments, anything?
We did have one more item, Mayor.
Yeah, I was just particularly on that one. I
Okay.
wanted that. All right, all minds clear. Go ahead, Angel.
We did have a statutory review at 513 Fontaine Road. It was the Home Team Initiative. Chloe Binion, applicant, that was approved by Planning Commission. We didn't have anyone there to oppose it. It's regarding a hometown lift center. It's a community center where they want to provide meal distribution site for children and technology gateway with internet access. So that statutory review was approved, and I believe it's on your agenda for you all today as well.
It
Yeah, I
is.
saw that. Yeah. I got a question,
Yes.
Mr. Hunter, Angel, where, is that the property that the city purchased down there, right across from Heat Cheat? What is the location of the property?
It's 513 Fontaine Road.
Mr. Hunter, where is that near?
Okay, Mr. Day, let me see, let me get you there, try to get you there.
It should be next.
Fontaine is 600 number comes out right there at the gas station, old gas station.
It's right there by the
So
school, Chief.
as you, that's
Big
right,
Chief.
it's right there as you go down,
Big
right there. You know where the gas station is at, right there?
Yeah, Heat
The
Cheat,
school,
yeah.
Right back, you're stepping back, going back. The number increases going south and decreases going back,
Yeah.
going north.
Oh, that's the property that, that whole strip there where those apartment houses used to be a while back?
Across the street,
Across the street from it, yeah.
Okay, okay.
right by the school, soft drawer.
Mhm.
Okay, gotcha.
Humber's
Gotcha.
Restaurant used to be there.
That's right,
Okay. Gotcha.
Sorry.
yeah.
It's
You
okay,
got it.
I got you.
There
Thank
you go,
you.
Greg. Good one.
Angel, how does she pronounce her last name again now?
I think,
Well,
Mayor, it's
Is
Binion.
it Binion?
Yes, sir.
That's what I thought, but I'll mess up some names, as you all know, so, but I don't mind apologizing. Before I mess it up and afterwards. Okay. Anything else, Angel?
No, sir, that's all that we had.
Any question, council, discussion? And again, let's ask all the questions today, so for the sake of time on tomorrow. So if that's all, Angel, at this time, City Clerk, Melanie?
Yes, sir. I was going to go over some dates on your calendar, and then I had a few things to mention to y'all. Of course, tomorrow, our council meeting at 9 a.m. Set for Zoom. On Wednesday, the 7th, there's a Historic Preservation Commission meeting at Troy at 4 p.m. April the 9th, the face mask order is set to expire unless something changes between now and then. April the 13th is a Planning Commission meeting at 5:15. When we're looking on down the calendar in April, we have the April 19th work session at 3, which is set right now to be Zoomed. On April the 20th, we have the council meeting at 9 a.m. And then at 11 a.m., we have the Alabama Attorney General coming to a press conference in relation to the late Assistant Chief Green, have a presentation for that. That will be at the Martin Idlehour Park Community Center. And I wasn't sure if, because with the meeting being at 9, I'm not sure how long that would last. If y'all want to think about, and just let me know later, if y'all might want to do that meeting in person, since you'll already be at the Martin Idlehour Park Community Center. And then at 11, there'll be that presentation there. And we do have a public hearing, 3 public hearings set up for that day for demolition. But when the notices went out, they were set up for the community center or by Zoom. So, but we've not been contacted by anyone about those public hearings. But if we were and y'all decided to have it in person, we just let them know where to show up.
That wouldn't be any problem with it, Mayor, Melanie.
No, because when the public notice went out, it said either one.
You know.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think the mayor and council, I think it would be wise that we had this in person. We'll be already there when the attorney general shows up.
Same thing. I believe that.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm fine
Just
with
makes
it.
sense.
I got one other question, Mayor. When the attorney general finished doing what he got to do, can we ask him any question we want to ask him? Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. The last thing I have in April is on the 27th, the Planning Commission meeting at 5:15. Oh, excuse me. One more thing. I'm just going to remind y'all. On April the 30th, that's the last day you can file your statement of economic interest. So just wanted to remind everybody about that. Looking into May, May the 3rd, we have the work session at 3 p.m. So far, I'm thinking for that one and for the May the 4th council meeting at 9 a.m. Those may be the last two meetings you could Zoom, which right now they're set up for Zoom, but whatever y'all want to do. But on May the 7th, unless something changes between now and then, is when the Governor Ivey's public health emergency ends. And when that ends, then all her proclamations will end, including the proclamation regarding how we can Zoom. So just wanted to let y'all know those two meetings in May, 3rd and the 4th, may be the last ones that you could Zoom in, So when you're looking on forward after May the 7th, like at the Planning Commission on the 11th, you're going to be probably looking at everything going back to meeting in person. And then just a reminder that May the 12th through May the 15th, we have the Alabama League Municipalities Convention. May the 17th, May the 18th, it's the next work session and council meeting. And then May the 25th is the Planning Commission meeting. And May the 31st is Memorial Day holiday. I believe I covered everything. And then on the housing, we have one board appointment coming up in May, the Phenix City Housing Authority with one appointment. The person wasn't sure if he wants to serve again or not. So we're waiting to hear back from him on that. Then the last thing I want to cover, I'm sure y'all are familiar with it. There was a municipal elections bill that has passed the House and the Senate, and then now it's headed to the governor's desk for her signature. When she signs it, that'll come into effect that any elections that are held on the same presidential cycle will now be off of that cycle. So basically what they're doing is extending out this term that would be in 2024 for the election. It's going to go into 2025.
Okay. That's the bill.
Who are those elections for?
Was that Steve?
Extended.
Steve.
I said, is that everybody except the president? Yeah.
That's,
the ones that they're going to extend to 2025, is that everybody but the president? Is what I'm saying? The statewide and all?
I thought it was just for municipal elections.
It's just for the municipal elections.
But I'm not sure if that, I don't think that includes county, anything that runs on the state ticket.
Well, the reason I was asking that, I mean, this municipal, I mean, is that the city? I mean, we run in June to August, and the presidential is in November. I mean, that's what's throwing me a curve, trying to figure out what, why that would be an issue to start with.
Mr. Graham probably needs to look over that, answer any questions y'all have on that. I'm just, what I was saying about it was the understanding that I was getting from the league.
Correct.
Councilmember Bailey, when I was up there in February, they were just getting the municipal election off the same calendar year as the presidential election. And they said they could not retract 1 year. The other option, of course, is to gain 1 year. So that's
fine, yeah. That makes sense what you're saying, right? And I understand what you're right. I mean, it makes sense. You just don't want it to be in the same current year,
yes,
calendar
sir.
year. And I understand you'd have to add one. You couldn't take one away because you've already in for that length of time, but you can always extend some. I know things can be done that way. But I was just curious as to why that. I mean, I can't read people's minds. I'm just trying to figure out why that would even make a difference. Being that we don't, it is the same year, but we don't run at the same time frame.
I asked the same question, Steve, but I asked the same question. It's not at the same time of the year, but for whatever reason, that bill was out there, Bill 119. So
can't read people's minds, so we don't know. They may be just trying to make the cycle easier and less confusing, because you do have people when you run the municipal city elections, people say, well, what party are you? And this, that, and that. I mean, like they get it confused. So I can't understand there'd be some confusion through that. So I'm fine with that, no issue, and don't have no problem. I just was curious. I didn't know anything about it. So
Yeah,
that, I mean, that's fine.
They also mentioned that, finding poll workers, they said, being on the same calendar year was beginning to look like a challenge. And so I think that was one of the reasons that was cited as well.
That makes sense. You finish one election in August and you turn right back around and you're back in one in November. So poll workers and finding polling places, and some of them in the city are different for different voters in the city versus the county. So it does make sense. Yes.
Yeah.
So what you're saying would make a lot of sense. You're right, Ms. Johnson.
But I did also want to say that with your terms being extended out to 2025, if and when she signs that, after that, it would revert back to every 4 years.
Correct.
Exactly.
All right. That's fine. And that makes sense now that Ms. Johnson explained some of that. And it does get confusing. You vote in the city, you live in Phenix City, but in Lee County, you vote here in town and then turn around the presidential election and people have to go to Glenwood to vote that live in the city, but they live in the Lee County part. So it does get confusing.
Yeah, and also, Steve, remember during that presidential election, somebody got, working for the president, Democrat or Republican side, and they get confused working at the poll.
It does. It gets very confusing. So it's several reasons I hadn't thought about until y'all mentioned all that. And it does make sense.
Okay. Any other question? Melanie, anything else?
No, sir. That was all I had, unless anybody had any questions.
Any question, council? Okay.
So we had another year, still a 4 years. We're not gonna I wonder if I can last that long.
Oh,
you get the gas now, right around town.
I don't know.
All right, proceeding on the city manager, the monthly department report. So council, as we've said, president is for the sake of time, instead of going through each of the department heads, we would do what we've done in the past, as we've all agreed upon, to start and see if there are any specific question that each of you or myself may have for the departments. And at this time, as we always start, I start with you, Mrs. Johnson.
Okay.
Any specific question you would like to ask any of the?
Just a couple, if I may, Mayor. With the engineering department about the ADA ramps and the sidewalk improvements, Mr. Hunter, how we're looking in that area?
I was intended to have a video for you all, which I will on the next one. We are gathering that together. It's certain areas that if you all been riding, you've been seeing a lot of the 16th Street area, off of Dillingham area, going around to 431 and throughout the city, Sunville Road, a bunch of areas. It's coming real good. It's looking real good too, but you have to have that blend of trying to put the old with the new and get that in. But so far, they've done a lot of that. Fifth Avenue down here between the 14 and 1500 numbers. They've also good in that area. It's gotten to the point to where it's a whole lot that I want you all to be able to see. And the chief is having the people to fly to different areas so that we can make sure you see this. Even with the resurfacing, I want you all to see the resurfacing that's going on Brickyard Road. It looks real nice. They got to finish up on Railroad Street. That's something we've been waiting on to get done for a lot of years. But throughout in all the multitude of areas that we have, I would prefer to have the video put together so you all can see that from the sky and see how well it looks in a bunch of areas. But I should have that by our next meeting. So we'll just put that on and be able to see how we are flying the area and keeping up with it from beginning to end, and being able to see the Opelika Road Bridge project from the sky and seeing which way that works, how that worked out and how nice it looks. And we've gotten a lot of, I've gotten a lot of calls and compliments on that. People thanking the city and being grateful that happened and finished and stuff. So we got several more areas, but the transition plan is working real good and taken care of. And once we get the other plan for resurfacing in place also to go along with that, it's a lot that we have that's going to be going on, and that's going on now, to be honest with you. But they
Okay.
look, they upgraded in all the different areas.
Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, I've received a couple calls on the bridge,
Yeah,
and I've traveled the bridge, so they are so excited. We as a city to have that bridge reopen. So good job. Just the new development, a lot of people excited about. They seeing the Dollar Tree sign up there on 80, but how is that development coming out 80?
okay. You wanna speak on where we are with that, Angel?
Yes, sir. Ms. Johnson, it's going great. I mean, we have the Dollar Tree out there now that currently is almost complete with construction. We have a Taco Bell that's going to be going out there. There's Popeyes that's going to be going out there. We're expecting a car wash to go out there in that area. I do believe that there's still a few parcels that they are trying to find somebody to purchase, but it's been well received, and the retailers that are going in there, they've been, getting plans in. As soon as they get plans approved, they've been out there to start working.
Yeah.
And also Sean's been working with Ernie Smallman, who's helping Menza Dudley with that particular project. And but it's coming along real good. So Sean, you have any more information on anything that we don't know?
I'll add, they're looking at one more fast food restaurant to go out there as well. And it's a name that we've talked about before. I think they're close. And we've actually talked about it here before, but I think they're close. I don't want to put it in stone quite yet. But then, like Mr. Hunter said, Ernie's been a great partner for us, and he's worked many projects throughout the city. This is just one of the other ones that we're excited about. So thanks for noticing. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and we also have several more ventures that Ernie is involved in throughout the city. And we've been able to work him and some of the other partners that they just fell in love with Phenix City. So they are looking at different land, and some of this land they put on the contract in different areas, and we can't wait to see it develop. But a lot of it we can't really just talk about right now. But they are doing a fantastic job going throughout our city that's helping us develop it. And especially, I love that part. That's the retail. That's what and fast food, that's what it sells.
We need, yeah. Good job. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Mayor.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Arthur?
I've been looking for my list for the last few minutes. I can't find it. And I just have about 10 questions on there. I'm looking for it. I can't find it. So tomorrow I might, but I'll try to think of something right now.
Try to do it today, Arthur, if we can.
Yeah, I can't find my,
you want us to come back to you?
Yeah, I can't find my list here. Let's see. I'm gonna do something. I see on the engineer and public work department here, if you look down to the middle of that page there, everything is on the contract. These are the businesses that we just spoke about. Is that right? Angel, these are Sean, these are the businesses that we just spoke about, mentioned a few minutes ago. Is that right?
That's some of these. There's some additional ones on there, like some of the school developments and the Wade store all. So I mean, it's just a mixture of all the commercial developments that we've got going on in the city.
Okay, how close are we on that Brickyard road resurfacing down there? Hi, is that project just about finished?
Yes, sir, it is. We're waiting for them to come in and do the permanent striping, but the asphalt has to go through a cure period before they can do that. So they finished the resurfacing out there. We're just waiting now for the cure period to end, and then we can get the thermoplastic down.
Okay. Man, I hate it. I can't find my list here. Okay, Franchos. Well, bear with me just a second here.
By the way, Mr. Day, like I said, Brickyard Road looks real nice. Yeah. Down there, right.
Well, Mr. Hunt, I'm glad to hear that. Now,
Yeah.
We're not going down State Dock Road, are we?
Not at this time. They're going down State Dock Road to shave some of the edges so water will run off. But what we're going to be doing at State Dock Road is a lot of patching for right now because, this other one was pretty costly. So we trying to take care of the whole city. But eventually we're gonna have to go down State Dock Road. But right now,
Yeah,
we got a list of patching to take care of.
my nephew works at that installation down there. He said that the road looks real good on Brickyard Road. He said, when y'all gonna get the State Dock Road? I said, I don't know. But anyway, I'll say park and recreation here. Okay, park and recreation. Hey, tell me, I asked this before, when are we gonna open up Austin Summer Park, Mr. Hunt? You have any idea?
I mean, the governor is
asking me.
gonna be addressing on the 9th. Todd, you wanna come with it?
Yes, sir. Mr. Day, we're still waiting on the governor. She still has everything closed.
Yeah,
Until the governor opens things up, we're not at liberty to open things. The park's only open for exercise.
Okay. Are they asking me right now? I'm asking you guys. I can't find my list, so I guess I asked a couple of questions more. Just go ahead on, Matt, that's it.
Well, we'll come back to you to try to deplete for tomorrow. Just to keep looking for it. So we'll come back to you.
I gotta go.
So we
Go
can
downstairs.
save time. All right. Mr. Gordy, you have any?
I don't have any.
All right. Mr. Bailey?
I found my list. I got 4 or 5.
He took your list. He took your list.
I got Arthur's list here. I got it in my book down here. But I didn't have enough battery charge on my phone for them 10 questions. Now, the first thing I wanted to ask was engineering public works, I'm assuming. I noticed the other day when I was headed home, saw some new fencing down here at the Phenix Plaza over there close to where the people are camping with Whitewater. Can anybody say what might be fixing to go on inside that fencing? Are they gonna put equipment in there, or do you know what I'm talking about? Or can we say anything about maybe something going on that you can't say anything about?
no, we will have something kind of rectified on that. It's something that the Bradley Company was setting up, and we'll be having a meeting probably tomorrow on that. Building department went down, and they were setting some things up for some other work they're doing in some other places, and we got to make sure that we're on the same page of why that situation happened. And I will say this, they're trying to finish up a project, and the information that I got was that they're trying to finish up that project so that they can get to the point to where they'll do the Phoenix City project. And what we're gonna meet on that to find out, try to get a timetable on what's going on, or which way they are gonna be able to, to seal the things in that they have over here that they plan to put in here, because some of it we found out, to be honest with you, after the fact. Yeah. So we are trying to straighten that out now, in which we got correspondence, me and Sean, myself, and spoke to the mayor about it earlier, in fact, less than an hour ago, when I found out some other information that we got to do. Because I tell people, when people see things moving, we have to answer a lot of questions. And that's what Mr. Halter's over there that's running the construction part of the Bradley Company now. We have to make sure that he understands those things. So we'll have that taken care of, and then I'll be able to give y'all some more information on what all we plan to do.
All right, that's fine. That makes sense. This Kennedy, how we come with new recruits for the fire department?
We're coming along pretty good. We have 7 in school now that are supposed to graduate April 23rd, and then I need to hire 5 more.
Okay. Well, you got one of ours from our church up at the Griffin I-10.
What's his name?
Ross and Mary Jones' son, Robert.
His name is Robert?
Yeah. Supposed to be Robert, isn't it?
I don't have a Robert.
That's what they told me.
I think one of them goes by their middle name, Chief.
May go by his middle name then, maybe.
Is it Eric? No, Eric.
I think Kenneth.
Oh, okay. Bottoms.
Bottoms, exactly. Yeah. Right. His last name's not Jones, his name is Bottoms. Yeah. But they go to church with us up there. So I was talking to the mom the other day, and she was telling me that he was in the school, fixing to graduate, she hoped on that. So just wanted to commend y'all for for doing what you do and keeping everybody moving forward. The next thing would be for Todd. I know right now you can't say anything, but are you gonna try to reschedule events for this summer and this spring? Maybe it past spring before we can schedule anything, but how about this summer, the stuff that got canceled last year for Parks and Rec and all?
You talking about the events at the amphitheater, Mr. Bailey?
Yeah, just any of those, anything that got canceled for last year, basically, and things like that. It'd be too early really to know, because I know the governor's got to reach everything, but.
Yeah, so we got everything right now. We're looking at the end of August and September is when things are going to start to kick back off. We're hoping that in May, when things open back up, that we'll be able to continue on. But we're right now still in the holding pattern.
Right. So you're thinking things that might have happened last year from August to September, October, or whatever might happen for this year.
Yes, sir.
That's good.
That's our plan. Yes, sir.
All right. Just two more quick ones. With the police chief, how about the numbers? Do we have new recruits, and are we still short on some police officers?
We definitely are short on police officers, but we do have 3 in the academy right now, and we still have openings for 11 positions.
For 11, okay. That sounds good too. We're moving forward. That's all that matters. Like the mayor said, we just got to keep moving forward. But we want the right people and the right firefighters and the right police officers for sure. And our city always seems to go out and get the best recruits they can. And I'm just tickled to death to see that. The last thing I saw on here, I was going to ask about when we're going to get the new kiosk put in. That I saw a resolution where it looked like we're changing it from one side to another. So that kind of answered that on its own.
Councilman Bailey, we're still looking like the end of May, first part of June, possibly, where that kiosk, it'll still be on schedule.
Okay, good. I've had a few people ask me that, knew that we were headed that direction and asked me when that would be put in. And when I was looking through my booklet here Friday, I noticed it looked like we were going from, instead of having one that might be in the wall, so to speak, it looked like it was going to a freestanding or whatever. So like, still on schedule, and then we get that when it can. Yes.
Yes, sir.
That sounds good too.
That is.
One more thing, Mayor. This is not a question or anything. I just would like to tell everybody at the city, all our department heads, I know they've been working extra hard with all this COVID. I know that it looks like some things are fixing to loosen up and try to go back to somewhat normal. But I just want to tell them how good a job all of them have done, not knowing how to do a job that way when COVID was around. It has hampered them so much. But every one of them have seen a way to get out and get new recruits, get out and find new industries, find new businesses. We've been very fortunate, those of us on this council, that kept our city moving forward as positive as it has, as well as it has, with as few problems as we've had. So I just want to tell everybody thank you for that.
Also, Mr. Bailey, hiring them was the easy part. Getting them through recruit school without being exposed to COVID and it shutting your recruit school down, that's been an enormous challenge. But we in the fire department have succeeded thus far. So this is a second recruit school we've been putting on this year, and so hopefully we'll make it through so they can graduate. And I didn't lose any. Some other fire departments did lose them, but I didn't lose any of mine, thank God.
That's what I mean. I'm just tickled to death. Y'all have worked more than diligently. You've really sat down, figured things out, thought things through, and then the first attempt at something was the correct attempt. And I've just been very pleased with that. And just tell everybody how good the job they've done and how well they've done, because this past year has been a trying experience for everybody. And it just seems like that we just got some really, really fine people in our city that Mr. Hunter has chosen well. And I just want to tell everybody thank you for that.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Arthur, coming back to you. Have you found
one of the things I like to ask the chief is this: what's the update on that public safety building down there? How are we coming on that project?
We got clearance today that the asbestos had been removed to enough where the trades can come back in, so we're back on schedule. They're still running some electrical wires but the operation is back up to full speed now. Yes, sir.
Well, good. That's one of the questions here. Let's see here. I know we said Mr. Hunter, we stated that we putting the Miracle Park on hold for the time being. I think you mentioned that. How are we coming with the meters up there? We finished with that last phase of the replacing the register for the water meter.
Giles?
Councilman Day, we're still working on replacing registers. We got a plan in place to try to get them completed. We still got about a little over 400 to replace, but the plan is to try to have them all done by the summertime.
Oh, good. And when doing that, sir, do you all have to work? Well, that's a stupid question. Y'all have to work overtime in doing that project?
We're trying to limit the overtime now to where we don't have to work after hours. We haven't the past couple months had to work overtime, but it's getting harder and harder to locate some of these meters that we do need to change out. So there's a possibility we might have to work some overtime in the future, but we're trying to alleviate to keep from having to do that.
Well, let me ask you something. Who were responsible for that? The company that replaced them? When we work overtime, did he reimburse the city, or how did that work? That was on the city, on us.
No, sir, that's not on the city. That's there's a lawsuit going on right now with the company, and we're in the process now trying to get the attorneys all the information they need to pursue that company that doing the job that they didn't complete, and where we're having to pay this additional manpower to get this job completed.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'd like to piggyback on what has already been stated about the Overlocker Bridge over there. I spoke to two persons that live in that area. Matter of fact, I know them, and they said what a good job, it's a good drive, and a shortcut to getting to work faster. And they were very excited about the bridge being open, and say you guys are doing some real good things in Phenix City. I said it goes back to our team we have that operate in the city daily. And everywhere I say I take no credit for anything. I go back to the team that are actually out there in the field doing this work. Mayor, I think that's all I have for right now. Thank you, sir, for allowing me the second time.
All right. Thank you. All minds are clear, council, before we proceed on? Yes. Well, before we get into the discussion of the agenda, I just wanted to segue this, and I just thought about it when Steve asked Todd about the events. We are not having the Mayor's Ball this year, which we had scheduled for the 19th of June. I think I've already said this to you all, so I can't quite remember, but I vaguely remember some of it. We had scheduled for the 19th, but with the environment in, we canceled it because, again, we didn't want to be the first ones to have and hopefully try to have a large events where other events that normally take place before that was canceled, because the committee felt that if we did that, and rightfully so, it could send the wrong message. So we didn't want to put ourselves in that situation. So we won't have the ball. However, we are still raising money and asking for donations with the understanding of knowing how last year was. We written a letter for asking for donations or sponsorship, but it is a very, very sensitive letter that we sent out, because again, the worst thing you can ever do is ruin relationship with people. And we certainly don't want to do that. So we did send out a very sensitive letter to people. But again, we are still asking for donations and sponsorship, and whatever they send, good with it. And if they don't and can't, we still love them. We understand. But we are going to still hopefully award these students that qualifies with monies to go to college, and we are planning on using the amphitheater sometime before school start this fall, as we did last year. So we are going to still award kids. So just wanted to put that out there. So if there's anything else, now's the time to discuss it before we get into the agenda for tomorrow. All minds are clear.
Yeah, I have one other thing, Mayor. I remember reading in the agenda in my book here saying about the river cleanup. It was saying something about the garbage.
Tributaries.
Yes, yes. Well,
yes.
Mayor, Mr. Hunter, would y'all elaborate on that for me and see how
Can
that
we
works?
wait, Arthur? Can we wait till we get to that one?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. All minds are clear. So, council, we are going to go ahead and proceed with the meeting scheduled tomorrow. As we all know, as Ms. Lee has stated, we will be meeting at 9 o'clock by Zoom. We will start on time. We'll call the meeting to order. And then after that, we will have the invocation it will be done by Reverend James Platt of Allen Temple AME Church, and he has confirmed. He will do the invocation. I will lead us with the pledge. And as you all will see, the flag is over my left shoulder. As you can see, I will do the pledge. And then after that, one of the biggest highlights, as far as we have all agreed on, is that we have several employees that has been faithful, has done a good job for us, and has been loyal to the city. And we will have the recognition of employee services, Stephanie Chastain and our city manager, Wallace Hunter. And then after that, council under the city clerk, I will ask for a motion and a second for the approval of the March 15th work session as well as March 16th council meeting. And since we were all there at the pleasure of the council, if it's okay, we'll take those in one vote. That's okay?
That's okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I'll ask for a motion and a second for the approval of the 15th work session as well as the 16th council meeting. Then after that, we will proceed with the city council, and there will be a time for any unfinished business between now and yonder, as I say. We'll have a time for that discussion, but then right after that, we will proceed with the resolutions and on administration. The first one is resolution number 2021-62 to be ratified in reference to authorizing the mayor, city manager, and police chief to enter into an agreement with Azon Enterprise Incorporation to replace 10-year-old X26P tasers with new Taser 7 for the police department in an amount not to exceed $180,919.80. We'll ask the clerk to read that resolution, and I will ask for a motion and second to ratify. And this is the one that Chief talked about at the last council meeting. So I will ask Mrs. Lee to read that resolution, and we'll ask for a motion and a second to ratify. Any questions or comments or discussion? And again, let's ask the questions today, if we can, Chief, for the mitigation for tomorrow.
Yeah, Chief, that would be coming from the grant money or some special fund. Is that right?
No, sir, this is actually, it's over a 5-year period. If you read the contract, that it'll be about $40,000 a year. Typically right now we're spending about $20,000 to $25,000 on tasers, but these were older tasers. These new tasers have incredible capability to be able to track their use, tell me how many times they've been fired. We also are required to train with these tasers twice a year. Everybody that's certified on those tasers have to train with them and shoot 2 cartridges per year. And the cartridges just for training will cost us anywhere from $7,000 to $8,000 a year just to replace those cartridges. Wow. So this new agreement with the new upgraded models is going to include all those tasers for training, or those cartridges for training. It'll also include batteries, the holsters, all the peripheral equipment that normally we have to buy separately. So even though we're upgrading a 10-year-old product, the XP and the P26s are really good products, but they just don't have the updated technology that is available today. You can wire. You have to do them manually now. If you use your taser, you have to download the data from the taser manually. These Taser 7s are wireless, and as the officer comes into the station, they downloads their data automatically, so we don't have to go and take labor time to download those, and of course it gives that accountability. Every time that taser's fired, it's going to record that it was fired, and it was going to record that it was used, and that then we can match it up to reports that should be filed whenever those tasers are employed in the course of the day. So it's going to be a really good project. And it'll be a 5-year-long project, so it's not the $188,000 all at once. So it's going to be folded into our normal budget that we normally spend on tasers throughout the years. Moving forward, we're just going to have an agreement to lock us into that price for the next 5 years.
And that's the plus that cheap. Let me ask you one of those questions. What the lifetime of those just new models? 4, 5 years or something?
Well, they're warranted for 5 years, but even after 5 years, like I said, we've been using the X26Ps for 10 years. And like I said, most of them are still in pretty good shape. Out of the 60 we have, there's probably about 10 or 15 that need to be taken offline because they're either broken or some component of them's not working correctly. But we're going to replace all of those 60 with the new models. And so the new models will be guaranteed if we break one in 5 years, they'll replace it for free, just like they've done with the X26s. But after the 5 year, the warranty will be up and we'll just use them. And as they start to break down, we will, probably 8 to 10 years from now, approach the council to replace the Taser 7s with the new Taser 8s or 9s, whatever ones they have out that particular time, 10 years from now.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, discussion, council? Again, we'll ask for a motion and a second to ratify. Proceeding on next on the administrations. We have a resolution number 2021-63 to be ratified in reference to accepting a permanent waiver easement and permanent sanitary easement on Lot 4, Adonia Commercial Subdivision, 119 Compromise Court, Phenix City, Alabama. We'll ask the clerk to read that resolution, and council will ask for a motion and a second to ratify for approval. Any question, comments, or discussion? And there was some discussion on this area out there, what's coming out there, and some that we're not at liberty to discuss. But that's the same area. So I will ask for a motion and a second, a motion to ratify as well as a second. Any question, comments, or discussion? Okay, if not, proceeding on the C, on the administration, is a resolution in reference to authorizing the purchase of insurance from the Flower Insurance Agency through America Zurich Insurance Company. We'll ask Ms. Lee to read that resolution, council, and after she reads that, and we'll ask for a motion and a second for approval. Any question, comments, or discussion on that? All right, proceeding on the engineer and the public works department. We have a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor and city manager to enter into a letter of agreement with Chattahoochee River Conservancy to install, maintain, and operate trash collection devices to the river tributaries. We'll ask Ms. Lee to read that, and we will ask for a motion and a second on that. So, Mr. Dave, this is the one you were alluding to?
Yes.
Any questions?
Well, I just would like for Mr. Hunter, somebody to, just share some light on it for me, and you guys might understand it, but share a little bit of light on for me. I realize that the river belongs to state of Georgia and the city of Columbus. We share that, and they had to get permission to work from this side of the river.
Mr. Day, it's actually, they're wanting to put these trash traps, is what they're calling them, in Mill Creek and Holland Creek. And that would be to catch some of the trash before it actually got into the river.
Okay.
They do have some of these installed in Columbus. They did approach the city. It'll be theirs to maintain. It's their property. They've indemnified us at the city if anything happens to anybody while they're down in the creek. And it will help our overall stream health also. So it's just a very good idea. And it's just going to be like some plastic buoys, and they're put into a net, and then they're laid across the creek. And as the trash comes down the creek, it will collect in that buoy and net system. And then they'll have to go out there and periodically clean them out.
And that's the only place you're going to place them in Mill Creek and enter into the river? That's the only place to be placed?
At this time, they've only identified the one in Mill Creek and one in Holland Creek, but the agreement does allow for them to get permission to install some others if we found that we need them.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
And Angel, just to make sure we're clear and correct me if I'm wrong, this is not from the city of Columbus. This is a conservatory, correct? That
Yes,
is
sir,
doing-
this is from the
Yeah.
Chattahoochee River Conservancy.
Yes.
Okay. It's a special organization. Then. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other question, comment, or discussion?
Mayor, let me just ask one other question. So Holly Creek and Mill Creek, District 1 to District 2, I know the majority of
Ms.
those.
Johnson, could you start over again? We had
okay.
interference and some static. Could you start over again, please?
Yes, sir. I was just asking about the location of the Mill Creek and the Holland Creek. Do one of them start in the District 1 area and then span throughout District 2? I think most of those creeks are in District 2 that runs to the Chattahoochee. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, Mill Creek, it starts in the Smith Station area and then it comes down through the city and turns into Holland Creek.
Mill Creek pushes Holland Creek.
Okay.
And it's throughout the city. That's another thing that I plan to show you all from the sky one day also, because that's another big issue that's coming up with people, residents that build houses on the creek. A lot of them don't understand that once they do that, a lot of the time their property goes to the middle of that creek that runs through. It's not the city's responsibility. And when you're talking federal and state, when you're talking about a blue line creek, where they have to keep it up, but when they build and they look in 25 years and the erosion has changed their property lines and around their property, a lot of people come to the city. So I think for the future and people looking at what they are taking on, they're gonna have to take a real deep look at that, because we have a lot of that, a lot of residents that have homes, and when it floods and water rises, they come and they look for the city to straighten that out, but it's on their private property. And some of them
That is exactly right.
don't even realize that or know that. And throughout the city, we have so many points. Everything chases that river. You know, no matter which way it's coming, whether it's coming from Smith Station through Phenix City, or whether it's coming off of Lonesome Pine Road on the south end to Chase and going through the different subdivisions. But we have a lot of deep points here where water travels to.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Hunter, and you
Yes,
saying
sir.
that we had a lot of those issues down there in Corey Park a while back. When I first came aboard, and we had a lot of issues back there. And you're saying that those property owners down there own part of that creek in the back of that house, the branch, whatever you call it.
In a lot of the situations, the lands that's connecting from one side to the next, the way they do that, they go to the center of that creek. And that's depends on, unless your property stops short of that and someone else owns the property behind you. It depends. Every case is not the same now, but in a majority of those cases, that's what we have. Or you have that's been labeled a blue line creek, which is protected. And that's where they have to go through dealing with the federal regulations and state regulations. It's not on the city at that point in time. And that's what attorneys, I've been working with the attorneys to make sure we can put something together so people can understand the land that they own and land that's around them, because we have a lot of misconception that we have to deal with.
Well, let me ask you this. I and listen to you making those statements. For instance, Corey Park back there, I remember the some property owner down there, they want the city to come back behind their house and cut on that creek, clean that up back there. You're talking about rail stick and all that coming out there. So I'm to understand, and they're to understand that the property behind the house go to the center of that creek.
I said it depends on how large their property is. If they don't have a gate or don't have an owner in between their self and that other property on the opposite side, they come together. If their property stopped before then, somebody's gonna naturally own that property in between. Or it's gonna be at that point in time, they'll have a stop line, but we have to go, that's why they have to go to the records and have to go to everything they do in the engineering to see where those lines are. So we do it as a case by case, on a case by case basis. And you know, since they dredged years ago, when they dredged Copalichi Creek down there, it was in 2009, you gotta remember, water was all through Seal Road, all the way back through 5th Street South, all the way back. And we've been fortunate. We was real fortunate because for some reason, everything changed and we started receiving a lot more rain in December, January, and February months. it wasn't so tragic this year as it had been years ago, because we got a lot of that, you know, like I say, taken care of, rectified, and we have some things that we still have to do down there and trying to monitor, because you got to remember, if you look at the way our land is set up and the way it's traveled, once you get to Coral Park, that water, all water goes back to the river. And when you get to Coral Park, you look in the backside, it goes down, and you know you're chasing the backside of Brickyard Road to go there. But when you see it from the air, you'll be able to see how these lines and the tributaries, how they feed in to get back to the river. That's why when the river swells, it pushes everything back, because there's nowhere for it to unload. They can't pull off into the river because the river is higher than where it's going into. So it pushes it. This water is pushed all the way back to Smith Station once we have those problems. You know, and I don't know if you all read it and seen, you know, Florida and state of Georgia has been in a war over the river water for a long time. And this been going on for years, but Georgia won that case last week as far as the usage of water and how much they use and send down, because Florida was saying that this is creating a problem for some of their, I guess, fish life is down that way. But Georgia, that case finally got won. I don't know if it's gonna go back to court or not, but they can't limit the amount of water that they use coming down and going down the pipe.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Mr. Thomas.
On that, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I know that she said they were gonna put in buoys and nets and all to catch the trash. How do we get the trash that's there now that's not gonna be pushed down, that's been flooded up on the sides and on the edges of the trees? I mean, when you ride some of these bridges and look over, you can see trash that's already there, that unless we have another high water incident, some of that stuff is not gonna be in the actual creek to be pushed down to those traps. How do we go about getting some of that cleaned up? Or are they gonna be responsible for a pre-cleanup and then come in and try to catch everything after that? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah, but that's a river warden. The river warden, I forget his name. That's a person that we'll have to pose that question to, because that's the person that's in command of the river over there. So we'll have to ask them to see what their other plans are.
And that's another thing too, Mr. Bailey, like Mr. Hunter was saying, if you go back and look at plats and everything, some of that may be private property. So, you know, we can't necessarily go down there and be on private property doing work. Once it gets in
Well,
there.
it probably would be, yeah.
If it's a
Because
blockage or something like that, we have the right to go in if it's a water of the state. So we can go in and get blockages. But, you know, so we really need people, you know, everywhere, you know, just really stop throwing trash out and put it in their waste disposal that they need to. And that would, you know, help solve the problem.
That would eliminate a lot of
it. Like you said, some of this is on private property, and the private property owners need to get out and take a look at what's on some of their property, and you know, just there again, I'm sure there's organizations you can call, like Boy Scouts and different things, and they'll come out and clean stuff up for, you know, for the general purpose of doing it for the, you know, for the nature value, plus do it for the value of just putting in community service. So, but I just notice things like that when you go across some of the bridges, you'll see stuff, you know, well up on the bank. And like you said, it does make sense that most of that be private property, because the creek is nothing but a ditch with water in it. And if you dry the water up, somebody's gonna own that ditch.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
So you're exactly right on that. You can't just go in and people want you to go in and put a retaining wall up and things like that. And you just, I mean, you can't turn a $5,000 lot into a $50,000 lot for them. Just can't be done.
And the main thing too, the federal law is on that side too, because it is federal. So, all right. Any other questions or comment? Thank you, Mr. Day. Mr. Bailey. Proceeding on, also in the Engineers and Public Works Department, we have a resolution in reference to declaring various items as surplus to be sold as scrap or disposed of at the city landfill. I will ask that the clerk, Mrs. Lee, read that resolution, and then we'll ask for a motion and a second to approve. Comments, questions, or discussion? If not, proceeding on the Police Department. We have a resolution in reference to authorizing and directing the mayor and the city manager to enter into a lease amendment and extension agreement with Crown Castle Towers 06-2 LLC for lease of land for a cell tower located at 1400 Second Place, Knowles Road Water Tank Site. We'll ask Ms. Lee to read that resolution, and then we'll ask for a motion and a second for approval, council. And at this time, are there any questions, comments, or discussion on this?
But Mr. Hunter, I'm to understand that this company used that water tower down, they place a tower on top of that water tank down there, and we are charging them a rent. How does that work?
That's correct. Yes, sir. They pay rent and they have, we go so many years and then they come back and the 10% if they re-up, if they sign, but yes, that's what we do. That's how we make money off those spots.
And plus it's extending the contract too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other question, comments, or discussion? If not, council, we will proceed on the Utilities Department. We have a resolution in reference to authorizing and directing the mayor and the city manager to sign change order number 1 agreement with City Base Incorporation for kiosk hardware change, new hardware, payment types in the amount of $1,000, and an agreement with Payment Tech LLC on behalf of JP Morgan Chase Bank, ENA, for payment processing services. It's the one Mr. Bailey alluded to. So council, I will ask the clerk to read that resolution, and we'll ask for a motion in a second for the approval of it. Any question, comments, or discussion?
Yes, Mayor. If you look on that second page there, Mayor, where it says the previous resolution number 2020-312 was approved on December the 23rd, 2021. Now, December the 23rd, 2021 has not arrived, has it?
That's correct.
Yes, that's Miss. Yes.
Yeah.
Ms. Leah, get that straightened out, Mr. Day.
Okay, I was just reading it.
It was before then, yes.
Okay.
Any other question, comments, or discussion? Okay. If not, proceeding on the ordinance. On the first one, we have a public notice and first reading. It's a letter of recommendation from the Planning Commission, public notice and ordinance to rezone 0.4 acre of land located at 1814 16th Avenue from an R3 zone high density residential district to a C4 zone highway commercial district. Marcus Mitchell, owner. This is the one Mrs. Moore spoke of earlier. So I will ask the clerk to read the letter and public notice as well as the ordinance, and I ask for one motion to accept the letter, approve the ordinance, as well as the approve the public notice and place the ordinance on first reading. So we would do that if that's the pleasure of the council, all in one vote, in one motion.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Everyone else okay?
Yes,
You all okay with that? Griff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Question, comments, or discussion? Okay, then proceeding on the ordinance, we have a public hearing and second reading. It's an ordinance to rezone 0.34 acre land located at 5202 Somerville Road from an A1 zone low density residential district and general agriculture district to a C3 zone neighborhood commercial district. David Alexander Quinney, the owner. The first reading was on the 2nd of March. We'll not ask the clerk to reread it. However, I will open it up for a public hearing. And then after that, close it out. And then we'll not ask the clerk to reread it, but I will ask for a motion to approve this ordinance. Okay, council? All minds clear on that?
Okay.
Everyone's clear on that?
Yes.
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 Okay. Then also on the public hearing and second reading, B, we have an ordinance to amend Chapter 34 floods of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Phenix City, Alabama. First reading was on the 16th of last month. We'll not ask the clerk to reread it, but we'll ask for a motion for the approval of that ordinance. Okay, council?
Okay.
All minds clear?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Then next on the is D, a statutory review, which we've had some discussion on that, which is like conditional use. That there's a request of the Hometown Initiative Cloak Binion application, you run right authorized agent to use property for a community center at 513 Fontaine Road, which we had some discussion on that. We'll ask the clerk to read that, and then I will ask for a motion for approval. This is the one Mrs. Moore spoke about earlier. Comments, questions, or discussion? Okay. All right. Any question, comments, or discussion? Then as also board appointments for the East, of course, the name is, we talked about having, and I think we all did sign the paperwork to change the name, but it's the East Alabama Mental Health Mental Retardation Board. We have 2 openings, Vivian Thomas and Dr. Rentu Chandra. And Melanie, have you tried to reach out to them at this time?
Yes, sir. And both of them are willing to serve again if y'all would like to reappoint them.
Yes. Council, what, you all okay with that?
Yes, yeah, that's fine.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, fine.
Griff, Mr. Bailey, y'all okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna need since they are all on there, we're not and I'm thinking as I'm talking, I guess we'll do them separately. Since it's 2 on, so I ask someone need to nominate Ms. Vivian Thomas. I open it up for nominations and then I close it, and then we'll come back and ask for a nomination for the second position. Someone
Okay.
need that for Dr. Chandra, and then we'll close it. But we will take 2 separate votes.
Okay.
Are you all okay with that, council?
Yes, we're okay with that.
Yes.
All right, Steve and Griff?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. All right, so someone, is gonna make the nomination, which would be the motion, and then I'll ask for second on it, and we'll take them one at a time.
All right. Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. Jimmy, we don't have anything,
No, sir.
not at this time. And so with that, council, before we depart, before I call on the city manager, is there anything that we need to add or take away, or something that I missed? Council? All right. Did I miss anything? Anyone? Mr. Hunter, anything you want to add or take away?
I'm just gonna speak on a couple of questions that was asked earlier. And when we talk about the hiring deficit situation that we having that throughout the city, whether it's utilities, public works, over the engineering, public works department, especially, it's pretty tough right now. And another wave of things that come in is hard to deal with, as far as, the government do certain things to help people, and plus with unemployment. And I try to see it in the most fairest way. When you have a situation where people can make more money by not working than working, it's kind of tough to fight against that one. And we've been fighting that battle for a while. Now, in some of the, it don't take that much of effect, I guess, in some of the more higher paying jobs, but you can't compete with that in a way, if people getting regular unemployment and they're gonna get 300 above that, and they're gonna get extended a certain amount of weeks and whatever, and the other abundance of revenue that they've given out, it helps a lot of people, and it's good in a whole lot of situations. It's really good. And, but how do you combat that, when you're in your hiring process? And this is throughout the nation. It's just not here. It's a lot of different things people are starting to do and having to do, and attitudes are different. It's different, totally different demands. Chief Kennedy worked me. I used to love when we were short, and they gave me more time to work and made a great living off of that. But it's not that way a whole lot anymore. Some you can find that way and some you can't, but it's been tough to deal with, not just in police and fire, but I'm telling you, and our other spots. So it's some things that I'm even having to look into. Well, we may have to contract some other things out. I'm exploring those options now, doing a cost analysis on what's going to be best for us in the long run. And I hate when things get this way because, you know, I like to see people, like I say, have the jobs and have the retirement set up and everything else. But if it's going to be this way for a while and continue to be this way, it'll be just like the decision the governor got to make tomorrow. Have you all been checking the numbers out? The numbers ain't all that great. She's going to be in another bind to take a look at, and the unwillingness of a lot of people to take these shots. You know, the shots out there, they're trying to give it to them, but a lot of people are not wanting to take those shots. So we still have numbers that are increasing. You know, we're coming off spring break and the whole work. So we're fighting a battle. That's just the bottom line. And even looking into saying, okay, are we too tough in this way of hiring or whatever? Can we kind of let up in this area, that area? That's one thing, but our HR department could bring in 1,000 people. We're fighting against trying to get people. Do we have a certain amount that just want to show that they look for a job to continue to get unemployment? We're gonna have a certain amount that's gonna fail the drug test. So we're rocking and rolling when it comes through there. You know, you have to say these things because they are true and it's a fact. So, but do you compromise the integrity of this operation, this city, this company by hiring a lot of people that should? Which end are you gonna pay on? You know, so we have to really take a look at that, but it's a battle and we meet all challenges and we're trying our best to make sure we can meet this one, but I will tell you, it's pretty tough right now. It's not always a lot of good good applicants that and like I say, you talk to the private sector, they're having the same problem.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it is. So everybody trying to rob one another and get to them as fast as they can, a good, you know, prospect. So y'all, you see it. I'm quite sure you see it. Everybody's seeing it in their other businesses, or y'all see it. You see it in the whole works. But it is a tough challenge, and you'll think more people want jobs or looking, but our mentality has changed throughout the nation, and it's changed. There's a lot of things we got to take a look at. If you're out here and you talk to a lot of people, basically we left in a situation where we got to encourage people to develop or strengthen or have courage. You got to encourage courage because a lot of people don't have it. And you know, it's one of the strongest virtues you can have. You know, God has equipped us with a lot of different things and great things within people. But at the same time, you really, because people are in this cancel culture that you have, if people want room for their opinion, but they don't want you to really have one. So we look at things, and I've always been a person that operated off the facts, but you know, sometimes the facts can even mess up something when you're trying to investigate it. So when you're getting the facts together, understand this, facts can mess up the truth. You want to know the truth of a situation. And it's hard, you can have all the facts in the world, but that question come out, why? And that can last forever. It repeats itself in getting to the bottom of something going on. But that person with the answer to why is the guy that could, or lady or gentleman that could show you the factual way of how you got to that. And that's something that we got to pray on and try to get to. But what's going to change this thing to get us back to where we need to be is words. You know, words are very important. I could say a few words right here as we're broadcasting and start a war. Or I could say a few words that'll bring peace and joy. So words are going to be the key element to what we do to help our community and our society and people that surround us. But we really do have to focus on having the courage. If you're sitting in a situation where you know the truth and someone's saying something and you don't speak up to say anything about that and you let them release that poison, And whether you put it in your chair to absorb through your clothes and come through your skin, it's gonna get to your heart, whichever way. If you don't stop that situation right then, it is a problem, but you gotta have courage to do that. Just look, you don't have to have all the courage in the world, but you gotta have some to help us out and help our community. And that's what our community is threatened right now. It is threatened real bad as far as getting people, these shootings in Columbus and Phenix City, Opelika, Auburn, all around us is people that see things, people that know things that need to report these things so that we can try to be there and try to get these things taken care of and done. You know, I can hear things right in the middle of the night, all I want out here trying to stop things and getting information. I probably didn't Chief of Terry this. I work for him more than I work for anybody around here as far as being one of the people that's out here on the street trying to find out and prevent things. You know, we have to, we got a problem, y'all. I'm telling you, we have a problem. And we have got to get out here and really work to fight against this, because we want to give older people, look at the situation as far as, you know, we have other people that lives amongst us that's being beaten and everything else. Oriental people are catching it throughout the nation and everywhere else. We don't want that in our city. We don't want that around here for no reason, just for the heck of it. You know, we got to get out here and knowing how America has been, and knowing how our community has been, and knowing how people can be. We gotta let people know that don't work here. That don't go. We're not gonna stand for that. You know, you don't just come bothering people. Just mind your own business and go and try to have your happy life and let other people have the life that they are having. But we got to get on board. That's on a crusade. And you know, we got to start at with us. We got to clean, make sure our backyard is pretty well clean as we can get it. And then we can venture out there and spread this, you know, because I had a disagreement with a person the other day, and that's on the fact of religion. I said, me and you are going to get along no matter what you say you're praying to a God. Okay, you might call him something else, but we praying to God. Neither one of us don't know until we get out of here. Until it's the end of our life, what's going to happen. But I could get along with any nationality, any religion, or people, anything else, except somebody trying to kill me for no reason. But at the same time, let's do what we can do as a city and showing people how we are together to help others come together. I appreciate y'all listening.
Thanks. Got to be an example.
Yeah.
So, council, everyone, as the clerk mentioned, tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, we will be on Zoom. And again, just appreciate everyone. Let's continue to be a lifter and not a leaner. And let's all remember why we've been destined to be in these positions that we are. Thank you all so much. So by the grace of God, we'll see everyone in the morning. So you all be careful and have a good evening and a good night. And we'll see everyone in the morning. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.